Hey everyone, it is so great to see you all. It is that time again. It's time to talk about the best movies of 2021, or at least the best in my humble opinion. Now I know some of you might want to get to those rankings straight away, and that's totally fine. You can jump to this timestamp to get to those rankings. But first, I want to say a few words to reflect on the year that has been, as well as give a brief overview of the criteria that I looked into when making these rankings decisions. Now 2021 to a large extent was a year of new beginnings. It was a year of recovery for movies. At the time of recording, there is a new coronavirus variant that is spreading across various parts of the world, but at the same time, we just had a movie come out in the US that had the second highest opening weekend box office numbers of all time. So we live in really interesting times, and through it all, you guys have been here. So I want to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported the channel through these past few years, whether it's your first time watching today or you've been supporting for the past few years. I really appreciate it. And this time last year we had 1,000 subscribers, and now we have more than double that. So thank you for being a part of this channel's journey. Now let's talk about the movies. We definitely had a few great ones this year, and I can't wait to discuss them with you. As with every year, when I rank these movies, I do so using 3 criteria. Number 1, filmmaking quality. The acting, direction, the look, the sound, the editing and effects, just an appreciation of the art of filmmaking. Number 2, emotional impact. That intangible, experiential part of movies that just hits you hard and takes you to another plane of consciousness. And number 3, rewatchability. If I had to pick 10 movies out of a pile of 100 to watch again, what should I pick? Now, I do have 3 honorable mentions this year that just couldn't make the cut, but I do want to show them some love. First, we have Passing, for making the mundane look masterful and being a symbolically, philosophically excellent character study. Next, we have Dune. I love Denis Villeneuve, and this is a fantastic, visceral cinematic experience that left me wanting part 2 immediately. And finally, Raya and the Last Dragon, for being another thrilling, original movie from Disney and a much appreciated Southeast Asia inspired film. And now to the list proper. At number 10 is a movie that I'm guessing most people forgot came out in 2021, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah. This is a powerful, gritty, heavy movie that I was completely floored by at the beginning of this year. I think it's pretty rare to talk about a movie in this kind of top 10 list after it's already won 2 Oscars. But Daniel Kaluuya was fantastic as the passionate chairman Fred Hampton and thoroughly deserved his Best Supporting Actor award. This film tells the true story of William O'Neill, an FBI informant sent to infiltrate the Black Panther Party in the 1960s. I thought what this film brought to the table in terms of its commentary on oppression, loyalty, and leadership was very well executed, and as someone who lives on the other side of the world, I was very ignorant to the plight of the Black Panthers in the 60s, and so I really felt like I got a new perspective from this film. If you missed this movie in February, then you absolutely have to catch it soon. At number 9 is one of several movies on this list that brought tears to my eyes. King Richard. When I first heard about a movie telling the origin story of Venus and Serena Williams, but focusing instead on their father, I was very skeptical, I'm not gonna lie. But I was very surprised because Will Smith gives what I think is one of the best performances of his career as Richard Williams. And the dynamic he has with his family and the single-minded determination to make his daughter successful against the odds was both incredibly intense and very intriguing at the same time. What I like about this movie is that it's an exploration of a very flawed character fundamentally, but it does it in a way that balances the conflict with a fair share of very heartwarming, wholesome moments. The ending of this movie just packs such an incredible punch. It should definitely be on your watch list if you want to feel inspired, and all this puts King Richard at number 9 on this list. My number 8 movie is one that I think is really going to fly under the radar, but it's The Mitchells versus the Machines. This movie just made me so happy. I didn't think I would be this entertained by a story where robots take over the world and humanity's last hope is this dysfunctional family on a road trip. But this movie is very well written. It's got great voice performances, some incredibly funny lines, including some that are very relevant to current issues, and the animation quality is something I found really great as well. Sony doesn't have the best track record when it comes to animated movies, but between Into the Spider-Verse and The Mitchells vs. the Machines, I think there's enough proof that they can really make some magic happen given the right story and the right team. If you want a film that's just great fun for the entire family, look no further. At number 7 is one of my most anticipated movies this year, which I think delivered in spades, The Suicide Squad. This may be a movie about some random villains being sent to some island to do a crazy mission, but for me, this was really a movie about redemption. It's no secret that the 2016 Suicide Squad movie was awful in many ways, so I was just really glad to see how James Gunn's wonderfully messed up mind came up with a couple hours of insane action, some very quirky characters, but ultimately a lot of emotional weight as well. Its amped up violence may not be for everyone, but with its charismatic cast and its funky soundtrack, The Suicide Squad also made me feel like I was happy floating, staring at the stars. We move on to number 6, and I thought for a while that this movie was going to be higher up on my list, but I'm still very happy to talk about The Green Knight, David Lowery's epic take on the Arthurian legend. This movie is absolutely stunning, not just visually, but also in terms of its story and its commentary. I thought about it for many days after seeing the film because there's just so much to unpack. We have this story about Gawain, played by Dev Patel, on a quest to become a knight. And in this way, the movie is about what makes a knight, the values and virtues a knight should possess, and what chivalry actually means. And then there's also an overarching theme of time and how it's intertwined with life and more specifically, death. It's beautifully realized with the way this movie pans out. I have to say, it probably has one of the most ambiguous endings I've seen since Inception 10 years ago, and I love how they framed it in The Green Knight, which helps to bring it to number 6. Top 5 territory now, the first Disney movie in my top 10, and it's Encanto. When it comes to Disney animated films, it's kind of expected that they deliver outstanding animation consistently, and Encanto just continues the trend. The movie is gorgeous to look at with so many vibrant colors, explosive energy and pace, and some pretty catchy songs, which really showcases Lin-Manuel Miranda's signature style in a great way. But why this movie is at number 5 is its heart. The story has some incredibly emotional beats, and I found myself with tears in my eyes at various points. I've read reviews saying how this movie is self-referential in a way. Disney is known for making superhero movies now, and so it's refreshing to have a movie where an entire family has superpowers except the main character, and the film takes us through this character's journey to cope with this fact. More than any other film on this list, I think Encanto is a really important movie for kids to see. I think today there is so much on social media and the internet which can make us feel like we're inadequate or not as special as others. And I think this movie explores what being special really means and how we tend to define people based on the abilities we see them demonstrate. And I think all of this combined makes me confident to say Encanto deserves its placing on this list. At number 4 is a movie I think not enough people have seen, and it's Pig. One of the most unassuming movies of the year, but also one of the most powerful. Pig is Michael Sarnowski's first movie, and it is brilliant. It has one of Nicolas Cage's best performances in years as he embarks on a journey to find his kidnapped truffle pig in the city of Portland. This is such a quiet and subtle movie, but it has so many layers to unpeel. There is an air of mystery and mystique in this movie as we're exposed exposed to the lesser known side of the food industry, but we also zoom into the personal journeys of the characters in this movie. There's a beautiful arc around personal image and an even more profound arc around grief and trauma that I haven't seen presented in such a tasteful way in such a long time. There's a more in-depth analysis of this movie on the channel, so check that out if you want. I don't think this movie is for everyone, but if you don't mind quiet, slow burn indie movies, I think this is definitely one to see as soon as you can. At number 3 is easily one of the best cinema going experiences I've had this year. It had to be on this list somewhere. What more needs to be said about Spider-Man No Way Home? I mean, it's currently the biggest movie of the pandemic era. I would say that along with Spider-Man 2 and Into the Spider-Verse, this has to be one of the best and most definitive Spider-Man movies we've ever had. We follow Peter Parker as he deals with the fallout of the world knowing his true identity. And here, Tom Holland gives what many say is his best performance ever as Peter Parker, which I have to agree with. This is, in many ways, a very dark coming-of-age Spider-Man movie. It starts strong, but builds and builds into an incredible third act, which I can imagine has satisfied fans all over the world. It showcases really what the Spider-Man character has always been known for: responsibility and sacrifice. And that, I believe, is what makes No Way Home truly heroic. Now, unsurprisingly, I had a tough time selecting my favorite movie of 2021. I thought long and hard about how to order these next two films. I looked into their importance, their entertainment value. I rewatched both films just to make sure. And it's weird because I think some people might not even consider one of these films an actual movie. But it is my personal list, it's my personal opinion, and I have made my decision. So my second favorite movie of 2021 is...
Hi, welcome.
It's a funny feeling to put Bo Burnham's comedy special Inside on this list, but I cannot deny that it is one of the best hour and 30 minutes of content that I have seen in 2021. There aren't many films that bring together wit, artistry, and social commentary the same way Bo does it, while at the same time being such a perfect encapsulation of the isolating effects of the pandemic on someone's headspace. Now, I've been a fan of Bo Burnham ever since I was introduced to him, and despite his struggles, I'm increasingly wowed by his lyrical genius as well as his eye for filmmaking. Written, directed, lighted, filmed, performed, and edited by just one guy in one house, Inside has so many memorable moments that not only satirizes current issues magnificently, but also opens the book to Bo Burnham's declining mental health. Allowing himself to be that vulnerable to the world is, I think, an incredibly courageous thing, and that and so many other reasons have compelled me to make Inside number 2 on this list. And at number 1 is the movie that personally stands apart from the rest in my opinion, and it is Coda. In terms of emotional impact, there is no film on this list that I resonated more strongly with than Sean Hedder's coming-of-age drama. I genuinely haven't spoken to anyone who didn't at least like this movie. The title has multiple meanings, but tells the story of Ruby, a child of deaf adults, that decides she wants to join the choir club at her local high school. It's a really simple premise, but one that builds the foundation for such a rich story. A story that's full of heart and authenticity. It's another high-profile film that represents the deaf community after Sound of Metal last year, and Coda really nails the themes of ambition, acceptance, and familial responsibilities in a very satisfying way. You might be seeing a pattern here, but I definitely had tears in my eyes during the climax of this movie, which was incredibly moving and was a great payoff. Sure, there is no fancy cinematography or visual effects, no big stars or big name directors, but I don't really need all of that, because if you ask me what I thought the most memorable, well-directed, and emotionally impactful movie was in 2021, I'd say it was Coda. And so there you have it, another year of movies ranked. I had a great time watching all of these in 2021, but now over to you guys. What are your favorite movies of the year? Feel free to share any of your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and get some of your thoughts. Top 10, top 5, top 1, doesn't matter, but would love to discuss them and also maybe get some recommendations for movies I haven't yet seen. Guys, please look forward to more in the new year. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please stay safe, stay hyped, and I'll see you next time.